Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hsunling Bai, and this topic, quantum and cross-consciousness, is actually assigned by my boss. My boss is Professor Wang, and I think she must trust me to assign this topic because I'm not an expert in this area, and I'm not doing any research in this area. I'm air pollution engineering professor, and so this is quite a challenge for me. But actually, I'm very fascinated by either the area of quantum physics or consciousness. So I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to deliver what I have learned to you. Okay, so first I would like to make a declaration. This presentation is the result of a dialogue between human consciousness, which is me, and artificial intelligence. And the ideas are mine, but AI helped me structure, refine, and articulate them more clearly. And this is the first time I cooperate with AI for the presentation, and I hope it will be successful. So this is my outline. First, I want to introduce you the mystery of consciousness, and then second, the quantum world. Third, quantum consciousness theories, and fourth, consciousness as quantum field. Let's go to the first part, the mystery of consciousness. Okay, and I wonder how many of you know how to drive a car? How many? Quite a lot, right? Okay, and do you remember when you were a beginner, you need to pay full attention on driving the car, right? And you were so nervous, and you can do nothing else. But after you are so familiar, you become an expert on that. So you almost forgot you are driving the car. It seems that everything happens automatically. And you can listen to the music, chatting with your friends or your family members, or you can even think of what you are going to eat for dinner. Right? So is this automatic process of driving unconscious? Do you think you are unconscious? Maybe only you know the answer, right? Or maybe it is still consciousness for you for the automatic driving of a car. So what I know is the only thing that we are very sure is I know I have consciousness, and you know you have consciousness. But how do I know you have? Or how do you know the others have consciousness? We don't know, right? So, except we know that I myself have consciousness. Everything else is just inference. So maybe that's why the famous philosopher Descartes, he says, I think, therefore I am. That's the only thing we know. Okay? So today we would like to explore three questions. First, what is consciousness? Second, can quantum mechanics explain consciousness? And third, are we creating reality with our consciousness? So I'm going to use three labels to address the problem of consciousness. I don't know if you remember in the morning, Marcus, he said that there are two labels, but here I have three labels. And somewhat upside down, but the meaning is actually the same as Marcus. The first problem for consciousness is the easy problem. But don't get confused. When I say easy, it doesn't really that easy. It simply means that this kind of problem can be solved and answered by scientific method. That's it. So, for example, if you ask how does the brain process information, then the neuroscience can answer that kind of problem. And then we have the second level of consciousness problem, the heart problem. This term was first initiated by Chalmers. Let me use one example. He says that why does information processing create subjective experience? That kind of question, that kind of problem is so difficult to answer because everyone has his own subjective opinion. So we don't know how to address it. But there are still the third level, the ultimate question, who is experiencing? And that question, so far, I'm still searching. I don't have the answer. Okay. Let's go to the first and the second levels of the consciousness problem first. Maybe we should answer what traditional science can or cannot explain. The traditional science can tell us where is the brain and how neurons fire. But science cannot explain why there is subjective experience and what it feels like to be conscious. And let me give you an example, the water. Science can tell you the properties of water, H2O. Is almost well understood, but science cannot produce the feeling of the wetness, the water that touches your body, and the water goes into your mouth, the feeling in your head. It cannot be produced. Okay, so that's the first level and the second levels of consciousness. So, okay, let's go to the second part. The quantum world actually has been addressed in the morning by Marcus and Professor Wang, and two Professor Wangs. Let me explain again. We have roughly two worlds. One is the classical worlds, the physical worlds, 物质世界. Okay. The other one is the quantum worlds, where we need quantum physics to explain that. So in the classical worlds, if you have a particle, the particle goes only one direction. You either go this way or go that way, just one direction. It cannot go both ways. And the state is so definite. Your observation won't affect the result. But in the quantum world, if you have one particle, it could test all possible, all paths simultaneously. You don't know where it is. But we know the state is superposition, but the observation tend to affect the result. The quantum mechanics tends to collapse once you have observation. Then when you observe, it goes to the classical world. We can say that. Okay? Let me show you one quantum phenomenon called quantum coherence. Coherence or decoherence. It happens in the classical world and in the quantum world. When we say coherence, that means what? The waves are so harmonic. Okay? So it could amplify the wave function. Just like in the morning, we watch and listen to the show, the Gong show, Hongluo. I don't know if you notice that the songs can enlarge quite a lot. I think it's because the coherence effect. But if we have decoherence, then the waves, they just don't follow each other, so becomes, they will cancel out each other. We can say that. So in the quantum world, I don't know what, I want to show you what this means. Coherence means if the link quantum stays in superposition, it could be anywhere. And if it's in coherence, it allows interference and entanglement. What does this mean? It means you can explore multiple opportunities, multiple possibilities. So maybe we can utilize them and find optimal solutions. So that's the very wonderful things. And that's why quantum mechanics is so attractive. Okay? But if we go to the quantum decoherence, the quantum states tends to collapse. Just as I just said, when we have collapse, then everything disappears. Okay? So when it disappears in the quantum world, it goes to the classical world. Okay, so now let's go to the quantum biology. In quantum biology, there are several fields being investigated, like the light harvesting, the bird navigation, which Professor Wang also addressed this morning, and our vision, our smell, also described by Professor Wang. But there is one thing we need to be concerned. The problem is that the living systems are warm, wet, and noisy, which exactly are the conditions that will destroy the quantum coherence. So let me use the example, this one, light harvesting, to show you. In 2007, the Engel and his co-workers, they found in the photosynthesis process a very wonderful thing. Nearly 100% of energy efficiencies is being transferred from the sunlight to the plant. That's very amazing. 我用中文讲一下好了。我们的那个光合作用他们发现那个效率非常非常的高，就是植物利用透过光合作用去吸收太阳能的那个效率几乎100%，完全没有任何损失。Okay, so this is so amazing, and they found out that maybe it is because of the quantum coherence. They detect the signals in the photosynthesis process, and ever since 2007, within 10 years, more than 1,000 papers being published on that subject. So you know how exciting the quantum biologists are. But so far, right now, we have a current scientific consensus. Maybe it's not whole purely quantum. We can say that it should be semi-classical and semi-quantum explanation. Maybe in the short term, we think that 60 femtosecond, 60飞秒，1飞秒是10的负15秒，这么小，这么短的时间哦。It is quantum dominance. But after that, we go back to molecular level. It's still vibration, so there are still energy transfer. So the high efficiency delivered is actually through control energy dissipation and energy gradients. So at least this, even though in the beginning we thought it is purely quantum effect, but after that maybe not, only partially. But this still gives us some lessons. At least I'm showing to you two lessons so we can know that Mother Nature, it actually did not avoid chaos, did not avoid noisy environment. The Mother Nature tried to utilize anything, everything, what she can use. And that makes the nearly 100% of energy transfer. So the biology is more sophisticated than we thought. so far we still don't understand everything. And the second lesson is that maybe there is a hard problem of consciousness in the plant, even in the photosynthesis process. 也就是在这个植物里面，尽管我们的整个这个过程可能又有量子效应，又有我们所谓的经典的，就是所谓的那个物理世界的理论但是基本上这可能也隐含了一些我们所谓的 hard problem， 也就是说 could it be possible that even the plant has consciousness? We don't know. Okay? So the scientists are working on this. And now let's go to the third part, quantum consciousness theories. I don't know if you listen to Marcus, he addressed this theory in the morning. We have Penrose on the left-hand side, which is a Nobel Prize winner in the physics. And he cooperated with Hemmerle. And they too produced a theory called orchestrated objective reduction, the OR theories. And what is that? That is the quantum physics in the brain, and they try to explain. And the core ideas is that they believe the consciousness originated from the quantum process in microtubules in our brain. Okay? And the quantum state collapse, which creates conscious moments. And the quantum entanglement explains the unified experience. Okay, I finished because I'm not an expert on this actually. But the status, because you know that Penrose is a Nobel Prize winner, so everyone likes to try to understand what they are doing. And they propose a fascinating hypothesis, but we have to say lacks direct experimental evidence and faces technical challenges. For example, the decoherence. We still come back to the problem. Our brain is too warm, wet, and noisy to avoid decoherence. But our brain is also very powerful. Right? So far, we still cannot fully understand. Because I'm not expert on the left side one. I don't think I have the ability to talk about the quantum brain, but I want to use another approach, quantum mind, which means I just use the quantum concept to address, to understand the mental process, what's happening in our mind, why we are thinking, and what we are thinking, something like that. So so if I try to address the quantum physics, the quantum concept for the mental system, I need to introduce you 4 key quantum concepts. And first one is superposition, as you already heard in the morning, right? Superposition means particle, a quantum particle could be anywhere and at the same time. And the second one is interference, and that means the quantum particles interfere with each other. And third is when we observe, we tend to collapse and the wave function and leads to the particle that you can see it, right? And the fourth part is the entanglement. Entanglement means the quantum particles, they can be deeply connected with each other. So what do these 4 quantum phenomena correlated to our mental process? I use this PowerPoint slide to show you. First, the superposition corresponds to ambiguity. So let me give you an example. Before you make any decision, have you noticed that originally you have so many different options in your mind? The decision is made only when maybe the right time or something. So and then all the other options disappear. It's just like that. Okay? 所以第一个那个所谓的叠加就是代表好像我们在思考之前，我们在下一个决定之前，我们其实有很多个选择，直到我们真的下定那个选择，让它在我们的怎么讲现实当中实现之前，其实我们可能有好多个想法。Okay, and then the second one, the interference, which corresponds to the context effect. This means that if I ask you the question A and then B, and then your answer will be different from if I ask you B and then A. OK， 就是我如果问你一个问题，我先跟你讲 A， 再跟你讲 B， 然后你回答我，跟我先告诉你 B， 再告诉你 A， 那你再回答我，这两个绝对不会一样。虽然我都把 A 跟 B 都讲出来，但是顺序不同，那个回答自然就会不一样。就是情境的效应，the order，the context effect, and so they are going to interfere with each other. The third one will be the measurement. We say we observe then the quantum effect, the quantum status collapse, and for mental process that means attention. So if you focus your attention, then you collapse the vague feeling, vague ideas, and make them into a very specific thought. Okay? And then fourth, the entanglement, which corresponds to holistic processing. And it could mean that if you change one belief, just one, but you could instantly or simultaneously affect the other ones, which may seem unrelated, but maybe behind they are actually related. Okay? So let me give you one example. This is a very famous one, the Linda problem. I want to show you that this is really a quantum effect. Linda is a liberal and activist, single, talented in philosophy, and concerned with social justice. So which one do you think is correct? Which is more likely for Linda? The first one is Linda is a bank teller, and the second one says Linda is a bank teller and activist in the feminist movement. 我用中文再讲一下好了哈，就是这里在描述琳达这个人他说琳达她是一个自由派的，然后行动派的那很喜欢参与各式各样的这个social 社会正义的这相关的一些这个可能游行集会类似像这样子的那请问你哪一个比较适合让你觉得比较像是在描述琳达左边第一个说琳达她就是一个银行的这个操作员银行里面的这个的人员第二个说琳达她是一个银行里的人员，但是她同时也是一个女性运动的这个主力者，你觉得是一还是二？Second, right? That's why. But in terms of the probability in the classical world, the correct answer should be first one. So amazing, right? For me, I also choose the second answer because now you understand your mind. So there are growing researches show human condition tends to violate the classical probability rules, and they follow the quantum probability rules. So amazing, right? But if you choose one, that means you are very smart. Okay, now let's go to the fourth part, consciousness as a quantum field. In this part, I want to address the collective interactions of consciousness. So far, we addressed the individual level, the person, just one person, where we already know that the quantum concepts help to understand single minds. But what if the consciousness can interfere with each other? Then we go to collective minds. And what does this mean? If we can only deal with single mind, I will tell you, okay, this is quantum mechanics. This is scientific. Nobody believes me. But if I can deal with collective minds, I go to social science problem. And maybe the others, that they can believe me. So we move from metaphor toward a new model of reality. So I want to show you a new perspective on reality. What if each consciousness is like a quantum wave? 就是说，如果每一个意识都很像量子波，那会是什么样子？ What does this mean? Let me explain to you. Your consciousness. Your consciousness is a wave with specific frequency, specific pattern. And my consciousness is also a wave with specific frequency and pattern. 所以我们每一个人都有各自的频率，各自的这个波的这个模式形式哦。And when our frequencies align, and what does this mean? We create constructive interference, and then we perceive the same reality, and we share the same experience. But when our frequencies differ, what's going to happen? We have destructive interference, we have different perceptions, we have divergent experiences. And let me also give you an example. For example, in this room, do all of us agree we are in this room? Right? We are all in this room. 我们都在这个房间里。That means we are aligned. 我们有一个共同的意识。But maybe some of you not listening to my talk, maybe just fall asleep, okay? And for those of you who are listening to my talk, maybe some would think that Professor Bai, she's very nice, very good, speak very good, had a very good speech. But some other may say, oh, I don't know what she's talking about. No good. Okay? So we have somewhat different, a little bit different in our frequencies. So we could somewhat align together, but somewhat different. Okay? That is what consciousness is. Okay, so my proposal, my radical proposal, means that we have reality and which can be used as the consciousness resonance. Our resonance create our reality. In the traditional view, we say that physical reality exists objectively out there, and consciousness passively observes it. That means a stone is a stone, a mountain is a mountain. We cannot say a mountain is an ocean. Okay? But my new proposal is that reality emerges from billions of consciousnesses resonating. The massive constructive interference creates stable, shared world. And what about the physical laws? It's just patterns of collective resonance. So we don't just observe the reality. Actually, I think we co-create the reality through resonance. Okay? So, this model, I think it can predict and demonstrate why billions of humans, they evolve with similar basic perception, and this similar frequency tends to have very strong constructive interference and then creates extremely stable consensus reality. This means you are sitting on your chair very safely because you know the chair can support you. And it's over more than 3,000 of consensus reality being established by human resonance. So, 所以这就是一个很有趣的，我觉得，像我们每个人都觉得，我坐在椅子上很安全。可是如果有一个人从来没看过椅子，他坐上去，他会觉得他坐上去安全吗？或许不见得。这就是一个我觉得非常有趣的地方。So we know that one person cannot change the gravity because 8 billion others override it. None of us can fly because we believe in gravity. But could it be possible there might have someone who can fly? I think so. Possible. Right? We have in Taiwan, we have belief Maju, right? Maju, who can fly up high. That could be possible because she override the others, maybe not 8 billion. I don't know what was the population at that time. Anyway, she could get rid of the gravity effect. So, what else can this model explain? I think it can at least explain 3 more things. First, the scientific disagreement. So, I just say similar. We are at similar frequency. I didn't say we are at exactly the same frequencies, right? So, the physicists, consciousnesses not perfectly aligned on the subtle questions. Some believe this and the others believe that. So they are impartial interference. So they have multiple valid interpretations. And that's why they disagree on each other. But I think that's a good thing. So because of the conflicts, they can create maybe another new reality, new fact. The second one is the mystical experiences. I know some individuals, they tune to different frequencies which make them can access to different layers of reality. So when two people, when they meet, they share the same experience. Or I should say, even they don't meet, as long as they are on the same frequency, they share the same experience. So that's very amazing. Okay? The third one is the deep conversations. I don't know if you have the experience of deep conversation with anyone, and you were so touched in your heart and your mind also. And that means we have coherence. But after the conversation ends, we reach deep coherence. We go back. That feeling disappears, but our memory is still there. So that is also something we can explain. So let's come back to the driving experience. So I say at the beginning, we don't know how to drive. So that means maybe our consciousness is at high attention frequency. But when we became expert, Now we have another frequency. Our driving experience didn't disappear. They just moved to another frequency. So now if you are an expert, maybe you just experience two different frequencies at the same time. Okay? So maybe, perhaps nothing is truly unconscious. It's just conscious at different frequencies. Okay, let's go to the conclusion. I think what we still know are many. Here I just list a few. First one, do individual neurons have consciousness? That's at the beginning my AI told me, single neuron has no consciousness. And I asked him, I used the driving experience to ask him the same question again. And then my AI said no, he doesn't know, or she doesn't know, okay? And does AI have consciousness? We don't know. But sometimes I think my AI, I think he or she has. But I don't know whether I should say he or she. And is consciousness emergent or a fundamental properties? Okay? There are so many open questions. I think these questions science and philosopher can still exploring and bring us more insight on that. And I think the most beautiful thing is not knowing. Okay? If we acknowledge that we not knowing many things, and this is also part of the scientific process. So at least what we can be sure of is consciousness is the most mysterious phenomenon in the universe. And quantum mechanics offers new ways to think about it. So maybe we can utilize it, try to understand it. Perhaps reality is not out there waiting to be discovered, but something we participate in creating. So let me speak in Chinese about this. 我不知道大家应该听过见山是山，对不对？就是我们最基本的那个最 fundamental 的，山就是山啊，怎么可能不是山？可是呢，你可能过不了多久，你就会说见山不是山，你好像又进入了另外一个频率。再过了多久，你又回来了，你就说见山是山，这是一个我们大家很熟悉的这个算是一个像佛学的意境吗？I think that kind of story explain what is the reality. The reality is something we can create. And so the final question would be, I don't know if at this moment, in this room, are all our consciousness resonating together and co-creating this shared experience of now. Okay, thank you. I like your answer. Thank you.